Just leaves me to introduce Christian.
Thanks, Claire.
Thank you, Claire. My name's Christian and I'm an addict.
Hi, Christian.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting to do this tonight, but when you're asked, you serve. That's what I've done anyway. I've always been told to, fellowship asks you to do something, you do it. And that's what I do. So I would never have said no. So here I am. Like I was saying, I've only got one story. It gets different variations of it, but I'm a drug addict. Come here because I've got no control over drugs once I take them, and that's been the story of my life from a very young age. And as we all know, we don't realise that when we're young men, young women, we just grow up, get involved in stuff, and before you know it, I'm 28 and I'm in a rehab centre. I don't know how did that happen. But like most of us, I don't know, I was a young man, 13, went to high school. Before that, it was all about football. As soon as I went to high school, it was all about girls. And girls and weekend, Friday nights down the park, 2 cans of special brew, or whatever you could save your money at school for. Friday night would come. One of my mates, Paul Bleach, looks a bit like Harry Potter. Somehow at 13 he got served. And the classic little Indian off-licence on the corner would serve anyone. My mate Paul, 13, like I say, looked like Harry Potter. He'd go and get our drinks for us, and we just came and get pissed, and we loved it. And that was high school. My whole high school was about them experiences, so getting drunk with a couple of cans of beer, from smoking weed, taking trips, doing these, doing whiz, mushrooms, everything, just done it all. And never thought it was a big deal. It's just a bit of fun we all had, and we all done it. The only thing I could say as a young boy, which I didn't like, and made me feel that fear we feel with inside, is at school, when people would put me on the spot and ask me to read out loud, and I'd get this overwhelming feeling inside, panicking, anxiety, go bright red, and when I was reading, I'd be shaking it, and I'd hate English. And that's a horrible feeling. I don't know what that's all about. I don't think anyone gets that. But maybe that's related to what we suffer from. But that's what I can remember from a young boy. And what I remember as well, with my first drink, that thing I had about myself, where I was a little bit awkward with my own skin, when I had that first drink at 13 down the park, that disappeared. And that's why I like drinking and taking drugs, that's what it done for me. It made me feel okay about being me. Before that, I was just always a little bit uncomfortable with my own skin, didn't really like who I was. And I just suppressed that by drinking, really, and it made me more confident. And just thought I was one of the boys, really, when I had a few drinks. And not that I weren't, I was, but I never felt that way. So anyway, cut a long story short, I went to college, carried on drinking. I love drinking, I love getting pissed, I love going to the pub. Back then, in them days, it's pool tables, cheap machines, smoking fags, in and out the toilet, sniffing coke. You'd go in the pub from 7, you'd be there till 10, 11, then you'd go to a nightclub, you'd be on it all night with your mates, and that was a wicked night out, so I love it. If you got lucky, you might have pulled a bird. If you didn't, you'd end up going back to your mate's house, on it all night, until the early hours, until the pub opened again. You'd be back in the pub for 12 when it opened. And you'd either pass out, run out of money, or get nicked, one of the three. Because I used to get absolutely wasted, pissed out my brains. I was known as an absolute pisshead. But I used to love it. I love it. And I used to love going out. But again, I'd either be really funny, or I'd be a pain in the arse, or I'd either cause a row, or get into some sort of something with someone and just ruin the night for everyone, because everyone ends up getting into a fight. And that was most weekends. Or some nights you might just end up with a kebab on the way home. And then have the remains for breakfast. But yeah, that was my early days. Just loved it. Loved going out. Didn't see nothing, not a big deal. But what I did realise now when I look back is I never really wanted to go home. I never wanted the night to end, whereas others did. And that's that. Just not knowing when to stop problem we have. And like I say, when I look back now in hindsight, I never had enough money to do the drugs that I wanted to do, because I was just a young man, didn't have a lot of money. You had to do whatever you could afford, and but yeah, I knew it was something wrong with me, because I never had enough, always wanted more. and that was that. So I was known as a big pisshead, very different from my brother. He was in prison at 16, and my old man tried to direct me differently. He tried to get me into education and be a bit more sensible. So I went off to university, and again, drinking took off. I don't know if anyone's been to university, but if you've been to university and you're a young man, up north in Preston, it was cheap booze and easy lays. That's all it was, and it was a wicked 2-3 years away from home, no responsibility, cheap drink, cheap nights out, surrounded by young men, young women. It was just a wicked time. But again, absolute pisshead. Known as a pisshead, but I was quite proud of that. And that was me, that was my thing. When I started noticing it's affecting my life because my grades started to slip. I failed my second year. I had to resit two exams to get onto the last year. I had to squeeze through and went back to my final year and ended up graduating in 99. And then it's just really about drinking. Then I come back to London, thinking I'd get this big job in the city, my life's going to take off, flying, thinking, I'm not going to make it in life. And I couldn't get a job for 2 years. And my confidence just dwindled, my self-esteem was on the floor, my drinking increased even more. And I started doing things that I wouldn't normally do because the money ran out, I didn't have any money. Punching off my family, stealing. Then I finally got given a job by my stepdad up in London, and I had to put on a suit like Dan, look very sharp, and think I looked the business, but that was just another mask of how I was really feeling. And so I'd be travelling up to London every day, thinking I was a bit of a city slicker, going to make it, big money, big life, and it didn't really happen. I was earning 20 grand a year, wasn't a lot of money back then. I just remember I used to get paid monthly. I remember getting paid once a month, and I'd be getting paid on a Friday, and I'd literally probably be skint by the Monday. And I knew something was wrong because you don't spend that sort of money. And every month I'd say, I'm going to buy a monthly travel card so I haven't got to worry about getting to work, but I'd never do it. And bless my granddad, he's the only one who ever bailed me out. He used to bail me out every month to allow me to get back to work. But anyway, my drinking and drug abuse, ended up losing all my jobs in London and I got sacked. And I think the last job I had, I got made redundant. They gave me 2 months' salary, and I thought, touch, I haven't got to go work anymore. I had a few grand in the bank, and I just went back to my mum's and carried on drinking. And in the mix of all this, my brother does what he does. He's just been in and out of prison all his life, really, suffers from the same illness as us. And I used to go home and see him and his mates smoking crack and smack, and I used to go, look at you mugs. So I always thought I was a little bit better, my brother. Because I've been educated, and I work in London, I thought I was better than. And I said, look at you mugs doing all that shit. And then one night I come in pissed out me, and I thought, oh fuck, it gets a boot. And that was it. Just start my drinking, just start my sniffing, just like anything I did, I just went at it. And that few grand I had in the bank soon went on crack. And before I knew it, I had a raging heroin habit. And again, like classic addicts we are, smoking crack pipes and booting off full wasn't good enough for me. Soon someone showed me a needle, I was off with the needles. I was an IV user. And within months I was absolutely ruined. And I couldn't believe it. One minute I was working in London wearing a lovely suit, thinking I was the business going to make it in life. Next minute I was on the floor, raging smack habit, arms mullered, and I didn't really know how that happened. And but I know the alarm bell started ringing as the day I went to the bank, get my money out, and there's nothing left. Then pure panic set in, and again that's when my morals took a different twist. And before that I thought I was quite a moral guy. I didn't do no harm to my family really. Just went to a different level when I was dependent on heroin and crack. I'd do anything for it. And ruined my family, ruined all the loved ones around me. Pure selfish, self-centered, didn't give a fuck about anyone, excuse my language. I just went on a destructive mission for about 5-6 years, and result of that was I was about 8 stone 8, very thin, greeny yellow looking colour, no veins left in my body, struggled to get a vein when I was hitting up. I still thought I was alright. I was in a malady, which we know about now. I didn't even realise I was that bad. People say you look really bad. I had 3 massive dramas that happened in my life. My brother's best mate died of an overdose in my bed in my house. Woke up, found him dead, rigor mortis, just terrible. About a month later, my house burnt down. Lucky to get my mum out alive, and I was literally left with a pair of shorts and a t-shirt. And about a month after that, my stepdad, the man I had to look up to and try to change my life, killed himself. So from that, I just went on it again. It's just total destruction. And other than being a man and stepping up and supporting my mother, I just abused her even further for my own selfish needs. And that's something about to work on, because that just shows you how selfish we are when it comes to drugs. My family in dire need of me, and I couldn't even see that. All I was worried about is myself and my drug use. And that's the part of this illness we suffer from. And so that carried on for a while. I was absolutely battered, and I couldn't see it. And then just one random day, I was in some pub poncing as I normally did. Just went there to see if I could ponce a couple of quid to get a bag, and bumped into a young lady. And she started chatting to me, telling me about recovery, and she'd been in rehab. And we went on this little mission to try and get me involved in the drug and alcohol services to try and get some help. And I went storming up there saying, I need to go to rehab, I need to go detox now. You don't understand how bad it is. And it didn't really work out. And then I went back at it for a little bit more. Went back there with towels between my legs, and I just put my hands up and said, please help me. I can't live like this no more. And I had to reduce from methadone. By then I was on 80 ml methadone a day, plus using, so I had to reduce on that quickly. Went into detox for 2 weeks, absolute horrors, worst experience of my life, and absolute dire. And after the 13th day, I rang my mum. I said, I'm really doing well, let me come home early. And she picked me up, went home. And I just went through the worst experience of my life, which I wouldn't wish was my worst enemy. And I went home, and before I knew it, I was using again. I'd gone to the Keys' drug house, bought one of each, and I was back in my flat, my mum's bedroom, my bedroom, doing the exact same thing. And I was baffled. I didn't know how that happened. So I just, like I said, I went through the worst thing in my life, getting to that point, and it just went again. And I was baffled, and then I woke up the next day. I rung up the treatment centre, told them what I'd done, I'd used. They said, just come down now. I had this rapid gear left and this little half bottle of vodka, and I just poured it. I said to my mum, I'm really give this a go. I poured it down the toilet, threw the rapid gear down the toilet, and come to Bournemouth. And I arrived in the treatment centre, and what a relief that was. What a relief. But going back to the girlfriend, she was in treatment at the time, went back to the same treatment centre. She was in the treatment, got there, they said, you should introduce you to this girl, she's from the same area from you. I'd say, oh, hi, to pretend I didn't know it, it's my girlfriend. And then it was a bit of a lie at the beginning. And then on the wall there's the houses you're in, and it's my name and it's her name, got put in the same house. And well, it was good actually, maybe the first few weeks of treatment, alright. I'm sure others didn't experience that, but it was not a bad time. But that all unravelled, I got concerned in group. It wasn't healthy for me or her, telling a lie. So that will come out. She graduated. I got a bloody contract thing I had to read out and all that sort of stuff. And then my recovery took off from there, because then I could get honest. And I've done the treatment, done what they said. And that's all I've done really in my recovery. I come out of there, got a sponsor, done the 12 steps, got a commitment, and my life changed. I changed as a person. But as soon as I got took out of that environment, I went back to London for the first time after 6 months. I was secretary of a CA meeting. I'd done the 12 steps. I just talk a lot in the meetings, how I'm recovered and I'll do this and this. I got taken out of that environment for the first time, went straight back to London. And before I knew it, same thing again. I was in my brother's bedroom. He just had some 20 grand touch, had a load of money. He was up there using. And before I knew it, I was back up the stairs, locked the door, and I was had a crack pipe in my mouth again. And I was baffled again. And mental. And then, but for me, I only used that one day. And then my mum was banging down the door saying, what are you doing? And all that. Everyone was crying, everyone was going mad. And I was like, disgusting myself, thinking I've just done 6 months, the worst time of my life, getting to the point I was in. I felt a fraud because of the shit I used to talk in the meetings. And the first thing I'd done, as soon as I'd taken out meetings, I just used. And if I come straight back to Bournemouth, struggled for about 2 weeks getting back into it. I didn't think I'd had to handle my commitment in, because I thought it's alright to still be secretary. I was only 1 day clean. got resentments, thinking, how can I not have my commitment? So I had to let all that go. Got a sponsor, done the steps again, and I ain't used since, and that's 12 and a half years ago. And you know, met a guy. I used to do CA at the beginning, about a year and a half. I met a young lady called Kay down AA, and she said to me, I know a guy would be ideal for you, and this is old boy in AA. And he ended up sponsoring me. He said to me, you know, you need to choose fellowships. I want you to do, don't want you to go for a social, I want you to go and help people. So I ended up going to AA, and I've done AA for 10 years, and I've only recently come back to CA. Really good to be back here. But it's all different, it's all the same book. I identify myself as an addict. But yeah, this is now my home group. So it's good to be back in CA. How I stay sober as a result of working the 12 steps, that's it. I know what I am. I know to my heart what I am. I'm an addict. There ain't no doubts in my mind what I am. There ain't no using. I can never use again. Anything. I might as well just kill myself. I'm going to do that because there ain't no coming back. You know, it's hard enough for me to get here. I ain't got it in me to do it. I ain't got another use up in me. I ain't got another treatment centre in me. I ain't got another putting my hands up in a meeting saying I've used again. I ain't got that. If I'm going to go, I reckon I'm going to go for good. And that's my main fear really over my life. But when I'm doing this stuff, I know I ain't going to use because my life's too good in recovery to want to use drinks or drugs. I ain't got it. You know what I mean? I'm comfortable in my own skin. I ain't got to use nothing to make me feel anything than what I feel right now. You know, I was a little bit nervous sitting up here, but it's no big deal. You know, people can judge, they might like what I say, they might not like what I say, I don't really care. I'll do my recovery, you know, I've worked through the 12 steps, you know, I've done, get in touch with a higher power, pray to God every day. You know, I've dealt with the wreckage of my past, I've made amends to many of people, good and bad, and now I just live my life, live 10, 11, 12, that's what I do. Try my best. Life ain't that great at times, but I've had a fantastic 12 years. You know, I've been married, I've been divorced, I'm in new relationships. I've got amazing. I beefed for stag do I recently went on. My 9 mates were banging it, sniffing gear off the tables like that, all banging these all night, and I was fine. Loved it. A wicked time. Went to all the big clubs I wanted to go to. Done it all sober. Went to some wicked conventions this year with friends. Yeah, life's brilliant, love it. And you know, my career's taken off. Like I said before, I had nothing when I come down here. I had 30 quid, a black bag of clothes, and as a result of this, doing the steps and become a better person, I've built a career. You know, I've got a nice home, I've got a good quality of life, and life's great. Life's great with good friends, good family. Although they're a struggle for me at the moment, but I just have to deal with that, you know what I mean? Because they're not me, they're not living the life I live, and I want them to live the life I live, but I can't make them live the life I live because they're living a life I used to live, and it's frustrating watching it. I need to get some patience and tolerance around them. But yeah, the answer's in the steps, man. The 12 steps is the answer for me. You know, doing the service, coming here, doing the tea, helping people out, picking people out, dropping them off. Just being a kind, selfless person other than being a selfish person I've been most of my life, and that's what this gives me. What gives me wanting to help people. That ain't always like that, but I do my best. I don't know how long that is, but yeah, recovery's great. And I ain't going to use today. I know that. I ain't going to use today. And I look forward to tomorrow. So I hope you got something for my share, and thank you for letting me share.